But man, I did not realize the crap that I was putting into my body until working with Ash and starting to look at the macros and everything. And I'm like, oh man, I don't need to buy that 400 calorie brownie just because I'm in the convenience store. So it's been working out really, really well, really well.
Mark,
Hey Andy, how are you?
I'm well, sir. How are you?
I'm good.
First of all, thank you for agreeing to want to come on here and have a little bit of a, sort of, quick old chat with me and a bit of a catch up. I think that's always awesome.
Yeah.
And of course, I've been privy to obviously, your progress. So while sort of working through, the program so far, and with Ash, I think if I remember correctly. But of course, anybody listening to this hasn't gonna have a clue what's sort of been going on, and so always useful at the beginning, bit of an introduction about yourself, who you are, what you do, and then also what you were struggling with, what you wanted to change, what you weren't happy with that made you want to join something like a coaching program, or just
Okay.
where you were before you joined, to sort of give us, I guess, a bit of perspective as to what the incentive and motivation was for you to come and do something like this. Give us a little bit of insight.
Okay, great. Yeah. Well, my name is Mark Paz. The reason I am in this program, well, there's two big reasons. The main reason is that my brother, who is also on the program as well, actually funded my time here. And so I think I've told him this, maybe not in so many words, but he changed my life, really. He did it, and I think he did it for me because he knew I was ready for a change. I think I just got to that point where body wise, I was just at a point where I was like, well, we're here now. I guess we're just here now. And so I kind of had become complacent in my habits and the things that I was doing, which got me up to like 297 pounds is where I started the program at. And I am happy to say today, I think I'm 5 months into the program. And today is the first time I've seen 250 pounds on the scale. And in 3 more pounds, I will have lost 50 pounds. And
Wow.
yeah, so I'm hoping I'm hoping over the next week or two, I can get there. I've been pretty steady weight loss, a pound and a half to 2 pounds a week. And really, I think the biggest thing I've learned through the program is consistency pays off, committing to something. And also, I think I have the sickness that whenever I'm like challenged with something, and I have Ash, who is my coach, who's been absolutely awesome and kind of pushing and motivating me and holding me accountable, has been very instrumental in kind of helping me lose the weight, but also making me want to stay committed to the program. And yeah, man, it's helped. And once you start seeing those numbers drop, then it feels really good. And like, it's one of those things where like if you weigh that much and you're like, okay, I want to lose this weight quickly, but that doesn't work. Yeah, I've tried that kind of stuff before and it always comes back and I give up after a few weeks. But this has kind of put some rigidity, I guess, and some structure into the way that I approach exercise, but I think more importantly for me, the way I approach food. I was never much of a overeater, but man, I did not realize the crap that I was putting into my body until, with working with Ash and starting to look at the macros and everything. And I'm like, oh man, I don't need to buy that 400 calorie brownie, just because I'm in the convenience store. So yeah, man, this thing, it's been working out really, really well, really well. So thank you. And thanks to Ash.
Loads of cool stuff, man. Like that was awesome.
Yep.
Okay, 297 you started at. Now, I
Yep.
mean, and you kind of alluded to, well, we're here now, so maybe this is it. So it sounds like you'd maybe got to a point where you'd resigned yourself to, all right, well, this is what it's going to be then, until your brother came along and went, well, I've just paid for something, mate, so you best get on with it, basically.
Right, right. And I think he knows my weirdness with money and that if there's money attached, I will stick to it and I will commit to it. Especially if it's something that he took care of for me. I don't want to let myself down, obviously, but I also don't want to let him down. Another big part of the thing, my motivation also is just, my wife almost 6 years ago, had a pituitary tumor removed, from her old head. And so once that happened, her hormone levels kind of straightened out. And over the last 5 years, she's lost like 100 pounds, kind of left me in the dust. And I'm sitting over here like, damn, I'm going to have to do something, to kind of keep up with her. But because she got healthier in that way, and it made me want to, because I want to live long and have life together and do stuff with her. Also, my brother, who kind of got me into the program, has a daughter, my niece. She just turned 6 yesterday, and so that's another reason. My dad passed away from cancer about 6 years ago, a week or two before my niece was born, and so like wanting to be there for the long haul for her, so that between me and my brother and my other brother, like we all have pieces of my dad, so she'll get to know him through us. And I wanted to stick around for that.
Man, it's in the nicest way. It's obviously sad to hear about your dad. Obviously, sorry.
Yeah.
It's created the perfect sort of storm around you in terms of obviously your niece, your wife getting herself back in shape and kind of leaving you open. You're like, uh-oh. I'm like, oh, I got a minute. And then your brother sort of saying, well, you need to do something, and I've paid for something, and you're like, it's put you in the perfect vehicle, hasn't it, to just go off and so you're basically knocking on the door of £50 in round numbers, you're £3 off it, so that's going to happen. So £50 in 5 months, so you've been dropping basically a nice steady £10 a month, which is a fairly rapid. Let's be clear, that's pretty. And I think you said consistently, like £2 something per week. So really good, and that is still quite fast. I mean, we can only lose fat at a certain rate. Like we can only burn and oxidize so much fat in the course, in a term of a week. So you're pushing right on the edge of that in terms of pace, which is great. But also, hopefully from what you've been experiencing is in doing it in such a way that you are never going to go back up there ever again. Like, and I just said this to a gentleman I just spoke to a moment ago, which is our motto, our company mission statement is to be the last coaching company someone ever needs. Goal being is get someone to their goal, help them get there, but also with the understanding and knowledge that they should never have to come back and ever do this again. Because let's be clear, let's say you'd gone off and, tell me if you think different, but let's imagine you'd gone off and done this in a fad diet kind of way, or hyper restrictive or something. You might have put yourself down, but it's like pulling a catapult back to go flying back again. And if you end up back up at 297, and let's be honest, probably end up higher, that would it could break someone, couldn't it, in terms of ever doing it again? So
definitely.
Okay, lifestyle choices, so on and so forth, for seeing you up to there. You've come in, things were initially changed and put into place by Ash that were maybe either, oh my goodness, I wasn't expecting that, or aha moments. Like what was it like right at the beginning?
Oh man. I think the biggest surprise for me in the beginning was like, Ash, you want me to lose weight by eating all of this food? It is one of those things where it's so much about what you're eating, and how those things work together to work for your body. Somehow, I guess he cracked the code on that. But yeah, I was eating like 2 chicken wraps and a hamburger and potato. Like I wasn't missing anything. And I think that's one of the things that, you think in getting into something like this, like, oh, I'm going to be starving all the time. And actually, I was eating more, to the point where, my coach was like, look, I know it's a lot of food, but you're eating this much because that's the way that the macros work together. So I think for me, that was one of the biggest, most surprising things, is I never felt like I was wanting or needing more. And some days I had a hard time getting all the food down. So I think that was the biggest thing on the onset that really surprised me. Having a coach there to, yes, teach me like, okay, how to really, what it is, it taught me to think about food differently. It taught me to think about food completely differently. Where even when I am like, I really want some pizza right now, or I question it, and I look at the numbers, I look at the nutrition facts, and I'm like, yeah, it's just not worth it. Like at this point, I've done so much work to get here, and there's so much more work left to do that. Yeah, I don't want to go back. And I have done those like fad diets, and where I'll starve, and then I'll lose a decent amount over the course of a month or two, and but that's not sustainable. That's not sustainable. Ash helping me to create meals that work for me helped not only, I think, in the food intake and the macros and all of that, but also just like being able to prep meals a week in advance, 4 days in advance. Yes, it takes some time to do that in one day, but then I have my evenings free to not have to cook meals, and I can spend more time with my wife or more time with my niece or, more time with friends. That also, it's weird how many things that impacts. And then, I mean, not even to mention like energy levels and sleeping better and all of that kind of stuff. And then, you see yourself in the mirror and you're like, oh, my face is much thinner than it was 3 weeks ago. Like that feels good and it makes you want to keep doing it. And I think kind of, you're not in a competition with anyone else, but you're almost, for me, I guess the way my mind works, I'm now in a competition with myself where I've like, okay, with the help of Ash and you and the program, like I've worked it as seriously as I think I could have to this point, and seeing the results help. And it just changes the mindset totally, right?
Ash said he gave me just a little bit. He said he's not missed an absolute. He said he's an absolute machine. He's not missed a single day of training. That was one of the things he told me. He said, and I say, look, I say this to people who make great progress because this is nearly always the same, which is, yeah, we know the journey. We know we've got the GPS. We know what to do. Right. That's great. But it's only one half of it's only one half of the equation. It takes someone like yourself who actually wants to do it, wants to make a change, like has the desire, has everything around them, because all things are possible, but it takes both sides of the equations to kind of come together. I mean, going all the way back to, do you want me to lose weight while eating that much food? Yeah. This is quite a common thing, which is whatever amount of calories that Ash has put you on, you could eat that in one Cheesecake Factory cheesecake. Like you could have that a day and probably smash your calories to pieces. Or you could have a banquet of really good, highly nutritious food that is something that you want to eat, but you're like, I don't know if I can get it all in, which probably now makes, I mean, that's true sustainability, isn't it? Because if you don't feel like you're dieting and you're eating foods that you genuinely love and you're able to prepare them ahead of time, which probably makes life a lot easier, it's probably given rather than, it's obviously taken 50 pounds of weight off you, which is a bonus, but it's probably given more back to you as well in terms of freedom and maybe now an actual understanding of food. You mentioned their pizza. Now, I mean, who doesn't like a pizza? If someone doesn't like a pizza, they're not my friend. I don't know. But it's the worst combination of high carb, high fat. That's basically, if anything's not macro friendly, that's about the best non-macro friendly thing I could say to someone. Not just pizza, but high fat, high carb. Two things together, not particularly great. And so, as you've said, you've come a long way, put a lot of effort into it, and so then it actually becomes quite easy to say no, because you sit there and think, well, I could have a pizza, but compared to all the effort that I've put in, it's going to blow the day. I'm probably going to feel, am I going to feel better or worse after it? Well, I'll feel maybe great while I'm actually eating it, and then probably an hour later, my stomach's going to be like, what on earth have you just put in me? And so, I totally. I think nutrition, we all understand, I think, as humans, naturally, that nutrition is one of those big rocks, absolutely importantly. But of course, training is as well, I think. So tell me, what's the sort of training aspect been like? Has Ash sort of opened the doors to new things for you in terms of that?
Alphas, I interrupt this show with a simple message. This show is here to benefit you and your progression to the best version of yourself. But not only just you, it's also here to benefit the people around you, your loved ones, your friends, other alphas in your vicinity. So why not do a really cool thing today? Something that I would thank you for, and maybe someone else would. Share this podcast with at least one other alpha out there who you know would benefit from it. Why not share the information, share the ability for someone else to grow? I'm sure they would thank you. I 100% would absolutely thank you. This podcast only grows by our listeners, our followers doing amazing things like giving us 5-star reviews, downloading podcasts, subscribing, and then, of course, sharing it with other people. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Share it with one person, and, of course, drop us a 5-star review, download the podcast, and, of course, subscribe. And now back to the show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I also want to say this, like, the food part, I don't want to act, yes, I am a machine and then I don't miss days of training. But when it comes to food, I have slipped up and I have like I want to be honest about that too, right? I've eaten a piece of pizza here, or I've drank a beer or two here, and I think logging those things so that you can see like, okay, this is what that did to my macros. That's also been eye opening. But with training, yeah, I've done all this and I'm not on cardio at all. My main cardio is walking. Steps have done so much for me. Obviously, helped me lose weight, but it's also given me time with my wife to hang out, and we go on walks now. So there's another like substantial benefit next to that. And I don't have a home gym. Like, I mean, I have this old Bowflex that it does some of the trick. And then I have some free weights, some dumbbells and things. But being able to say, okay, Ash, here's what I have, and him being able to create a plan within that, where I didn't have to go out and buy extra stuff just to do my training. So implementing a lot of body weight workouts, dumbbell workouts, things like that have been very helpful. And the workouts are, to go along with the app, which I find very helpful. I can do it. I can follow along. I can click done. And so then you also get that checklist feeling of like, okay, this is what I've accomplished today. This is what I've done. That's all been really helpful. Squats, reverse lunges, I hate them all. And at the beginning, I hated them very much. And Ash was like, stick with them. They'll be the ones you end up liking the most. And I will admit that has not happened yet. I don't love them the most. But I do feel good when I do them, and I know they're beneficial to me. So those kinds of things help. And this isn't, about the actual act of training, but being able to ask Ash any questions about why this exercise works, or, which muscles burn the most calories or burn the most fat, or, whatever it is, has been really helpful. And we've conversed about what are his favorite exercises, what are mine. Having him be there to help guide me through that process has been really helpful. And I think anyone, if they start working out and it becomes consistent, and it becomes a habit, you do start looking forward to it. You do start enjoying it. I've always been able to, like, for example, last year, I was like, I'm going to do 2 miles on my elliptical every day. And I did for like 6 months every day, but it never did a damn thing because my food never changed. And the cardio just wasn't working. And so knowing the right types of things to do to get the results I want. I think when I first signed up, and you have that, you guys have that form that you have to fill out, right? Like, or that we have to fill out, like, here's what I do, here's what I don't do, here's what I'd like to see, here's my goals. One of my goals was like, I would love to lose weight quickly, relatively quickly, and become, happier and healthier. But I also don't want to do it so fast that, I would like my skin to snap back as much as it possibly can at this point. So I think that steady pace of losing weight in the right ways has been really helpful. I'm sure all of your coaches are great. And I think I was in the mindset to be able to do this no matter what. But Ash and I click very well. And I think even better than being a good trainer and very knowledgeable, still being so young, to hell with that guy. He's a great communicator, man. We have developed a relationship beyond just the training and the food. And now he's a friend that I want to not impress, but I want to make him proud also.
Yeah, do well for. Like the last thing you'd want to do now is let him down, right? Like, no. and that's the sort of true accountability, because that's what teamwork ends up being. It's you're both involved, you're both now aligned, trying to get to the same end goal. Right. Ash has obviously got his hands on the wheel, and sort of steering things, but you're putting the effort in, and full well how much effort. This is the same for all of the coaches, but when you know and you can feel how much effort your coaches put in, the last thing you want to do is be sneaking food in, and it's right. Fine to mess up. It's fine. Like, it's not even messing up. Like, we all do things where like, could have done better there. That's okay. Right. As long as it doesn't get done a second time, because that's the start of a new habit. Right. But then it's far better to do that and then say, right, Ash or coach, this is what I've done. I'm telling you straight up, because a coach would far more prefer that, because we know exactly when someone's doing it. We know. We're like looking at stuff going, they're like, no, I'm tracking everything. We're like,
Yeah.
I don't think you are.
Right.
Yeah, and there's certain little telltale signs that we can spot that lead us down that. So just to go back there, so you're 50 pounds down in 5 months with no official cardio in place. I think
Yeah.
that's, and this is something maybe for people listening, that cardio doesn't equal fat loss
Right.
in of itself. It's just a tool that can be put in place if necessary. Does it help? Yeah, like you could end up another 50 pounds down, and at the end of that, maybe actually needing some cardio to dig further down to get as far as you want to get. Yeah, it's a tool, and it's something I used to do when I used to coach, which is if someone came in doing a bucket load of cardio, the first thing I'd do is stop all of it,
Yeah.
basically, and they'd be like, you do
What?
know that I've come here to lose fat, right? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. But let's try and do it with good quality training and food alone. And let's just then manage steps, because no matter how tired someone is, they can do another step. You know what I mean? But so, okay. Looking forward then, so another 50 pounds to go. Is that sort of the next? Obviously, the next goal is 3 more pounds, right? That's the sort of micro goal, right? And then what's it looking like after that for you?
Okay, so I got married 8 years ago, and 8 years ago at my wedding, I had lost some weight, not in the good ways like I am now, mostly, and I was 230 pounds. So my initial goal was like, I'd like to get back down to wedding weight. Well, I'm 20 pounds from that now, which is awesome. Then I was going through some old pictures to send to Ash, kind of before and afters kind of thing, progress pictures. And I sent him a picture of my junior year in high school, so my grade 11 in high school. And I was like, I really like the way that I looked here. And I couldn't remember how much I weighed, but Ash thought, based on the picture and what he knows about me, I probably was like 220, 215. Well, to me, like that's only another 15, 20 pounds past wedding weight. But now I'm thinking, getting down to around 200 before I'm out of the program feels pretty good to me. If I don't get there, I know I'll be okay though, because I've learned so much so far that I'll be able to hold on to those things. Another thing that I said in that initial form that I filled out was like, I want to lose weight and I'd like to get to a weight that looks good on my body. I don't want to be one of those that loses all this weight and just looks like they have a big old fat head anymore, right? And so I think getting down to around 200 is kind of where I'd be pretty happy, I think. And also, like, I've always been husky, like in grade school I wore the husky jeans. Like I've always been a little bigger than most, but also an athletic big. Like I played basketball and football and baseball and all that kind of stuff. And so to be able to get to that point where I can do those things more easily is something that I think will also benefit me, because I'm going to be more active after this. A lot of the program and making it work for you too is figuring out how to manage your time in relation to setting priorities and making, your workouts happen and making sure that you have time to meal prep, learning those things, learning more about macros, learning more about the time management, being able to ask any questions to my coach. All of those things kind of have set me up for a pretty good future. I cleaned out my closet recently, a couple of weeks ago, because I hold on to everything. And it was always one of those like, I have this shirt and it doesn't fit now, but if I can lose 10 pounds, it'll fit. And so I have a problem holding on to stuff, but I have a closet full of clothes that I can fit in again. And I cleaned it out and I made the stacks of just like t-shirts, for example, where I have a stack. Okay, I'll be able to wear these 10 more pounds down. And then I have a 20 pounds down stack. So like the opening up that world. And like I, for so long was like, I just wear black, everything, because we know why, but now like I'm wearing more color. I have access to more things in my closet. I'm feeling more comfortable and confident, which helps in every aspect of life. And I don't want to lose that feeling when the program's over. I really want to keep it up,
So good, man. I mean, losing weight is just, people say, quite often people say to us, I just want to lose weight. And I'm like, damn it, take the word just away from before a goal, because it somehow devalues the goal. I want to lose weight. I want to lose this much. I want to have more self-confidence. I want to have this. And I'm going to go and get it. This little word just, like we all say it, like it's the word just. But
Right.
before a goal, it's kind of one of the worst things to say. Man, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Absolutely loved this podcast. It's going to be really, I think, really, really useful for people when they get to listen to this. You know, for those people who have made it, you know, up on the sort of higher end in terms of the initial weight starting point, maybe thinking, oh, I'm here, this is it, me, you know, for me now. You know, all I can ever do is, you know, maybe unsustainable ways to get back down. But what you are is a shining light to people that actually know it can be done properly, it can be done the right way. You know, if you've got that sort of the support group around you, which you've obviously got, a great coach, which you've obviously got, but also the mindset which you've got, which is, you know, all the power to you. Listen, I'm going to let you get back on with your day. I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on your progress, obviously.
Right.
I'll be keeping a close eye. Listen, I'm going to let you go back. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure. I can't wait for this episode to come out and help people to see your journey. We'll probably get to speak again soon when you're just below wedding weight. Let's do that. Let's make that happen.
Sounds great. Awesome. Appreciate it, Andy. Thanks a lot. Shout out.
Have a great day. Yeah, man. Take care. See you later.